What up? What up? What up, folks? Mikey and Maddie here. We're doing a quick little short here on the old Seth Green news that came out a couple days ago. Dude got his Bored Ape stolen. Was building a show around it. So this is a pretty interesting conversation. Love to hear your thoughts, Maddie, because you found this for me. And I think the first comment before you actually talk about the article, hair and beard, hundo P better than his, knowing that he has a professional stylist to get it look like that. It's real nice. Bro, I just came out of the shower, dog, and I'm looking pretty good already.
I mean, you are 10,000 times more attractive than Seth Green, no question.
I love it.
Yeah, and maybe you are Darkwing 84. No one knows.
Yeah. So let's get into Darkwing 84. How is that relevant?
So quick recap. Basically, Seth Green got scammed. He lost a couple different NFTs, right? And one of them was his Bored Ape number 9398. Okay, and he has a show that he's building around this and as a character, and it really brings up this whole concept because we say it as like a buzz term, but this is the real deal, right? NFTs are digital ownership, and so because he had it, he could use this character in a show, and real copyright issues are coming up, and it's actually delaying the show, and he may not be able to even build this show or run it simply because he no longer owns this. And so what happened? He got scammed. It would appear the person who scammed him resold the Bored Ape to a person called Darkwing84 on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Seth is reaching out saying, listen, I'd really like to deal with this, man to man. Let's deal with this like just between ourselves. Rather than getting courts involved, because then it gets messy and kind of ugly. So the question is who's right, who's wrong, right? If something is yours and somebody steals it from your house,
right?
They pawn it, right? Let's say I own this Mountain Dew, and somebody steals it, pawns it, and you buy it, Mike. Is it yours or is it mine? It's a great question, right? Traditionally,
it's
in terms
mine
of like
because it's in
physical
my
law.
hand.
True. And in terms of physical law, you would think, well, but if it was stolen from me, it should be returned to the original owner, right? And it gets murky. And the answer is, I'm not quite sure, right? I think, who knows? It could probably depend on what state you're in or what law or what jurisdiction, things like that. So what happens here? And the answer is, collectively, we all don't really know. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of ideas, but it's a fascinating story that brings up the concept of digital ownership. And I think this is really kind of peel back the layers of the onion when it comes to, do you really own your NFT when you buy it? What do you think?
Right. Yeah. So a couple of things that I'm excited about, and I think you make all good points, is I think we can both agree that, yes, there are nuances in who technically owns it, but the dude got his Bored Ape stolen. Like in a ideal world, it should be his, right? And it should be returned.
Yes.
In an ideal world,
morally, we agree.
But what's interesting is one of his tweets said, "Look forward to the precedent-setting debates on IP ownership and exploitation. Having spent 18 years studying copyright and industry laws, I'd rather meet Darkwing to make a deal versus doing it in court." So a couple things that I think here is, one, unfortunately, if you're not Seth Green and you don't have the money,
that money looks
to come
real
after
nice,
these people and sue them and pursue them, you're totally screwed, and it's a really shitty thing. But
True.
The positive of actually turning this into a positive is someone like this happened to someone like Seth Green. So he has the money, he has the clout to go after this person and try to uncover that. And I think this is going to start giving us insight into what really happens in these situations and what should happen and what does the law say. But I mean, technically, it was sold on the blockchain, and now somebody else owns it. It's super shitty, but you can literally see the transactions on the blockchain. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, so I would say maybe he gets it, right? Maybe he has the power, but we got to remember, copyright law is something that works here. in America, right? And there are international things that can go in there. We kind of have these like universal agreements. Like if somebody tried to build a Disney World in,
Right.
you know, South Africa somewhere, we would Disney can do something, right? But at the end of the day, it's an army of lawyers that kind of descend down. What we don't know is we don't know where Darkwing 84 is. Like your statement is correct if he's in Arkansas, right?
Right.
But if Darkwing 84 is in Siberia, well, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I,
Right.
can he really do anything at that point? Kind of how you said, like you're the one holding the Mountain Dew, right? What can he do? I don't know. Now this is where maybe Bored Ape can come in and say, okay, well we're just going to lock it up and basically make it, put 99.99% royalties on this thing. So essentially rendering it useless, right? It won't have any more
Right.
value to Darkwing 84, and basically say until you resolve this with Seth Green, we're not relinquishing those royalties, right? So there's some kind of like maneuvering maybe backhand that could be there, but ultimately I think this is a really interesting question because we live in an it's an international business of NFTs,
Yeah.
and what is that going to mean? It gets very murky, and so then the question becomes, what do we do about it? Is there something that can be put in place that can help you kind of claim what's yours as yours? And of course, there's different cold storage wallets, things like a ledger, of course.
Right.
But is there something beyond that that we can all universally agree maybe establishes some type of ownership? I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Or is there some type of insurance we can get? Because a lot of times,
Mm.
in that same kind of vein, if I insure something and somebody steals it, well, the insurance company has a financial interest. They do not want to have to pay me. So
For
it's cheaper if it's something
yes.
very expensive,
Yep.
like a Bored Ape, for
Yep.
them to go after the actual item and return it than it is to just pay me a check, right? And
Absolutely.
so that's something to be considered too. And I think it's going to be interesting over the next kind of couple days. And honestly, I don't think this is going to be solved anytime soon, but
No.
I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that spark a thought in my mind too is, and we've talked about this before, and I can't wait to continue the debate, but there are trade-offs to having an unregulated space where shit like
Yep.
this happens more often, right? And
Yep.
we know we're inevitably moving to the future of Google and Facebook or Meta or Amazon starting to control this space, which will bring more regulation. But you're not going to make as much money. They're going to own a
Correct.
lot more of your assets.
You
And
got it.
so, what is the trade off? And in my mind right now, I'd much rather have some risk and be able to do what I'm doing now and not have to be watered down by the Amazons and the Metas of the world. But I always say on the flip side is the amount of innovation, technology, because they have so much money, right? They're
Yeah.
really going to move things forward. Man, I was just on my Oculus playing my buddy across the country in high fidelity ping pong arena. And it was like we were
Yeah.
right next to each other. Like that's a game changer, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we can certainly recognize there are a lot of opportunities for um, entrepreneurs to come in here and fill some of these gaps, right? You want to make $1 million? Don't buy a Bored Ape. Buy the thing that insures people's Bored Apes, and then you
Mm,
just sold something to everyone with an expensive NFT. So,
yep.
you
Yep.
know, there are problems out in this industry, and I think that people solving those problems are going to have very lucrative futures. And
Yep. Yep.
I think that's where we stand in terms of this story for now.
No, and I love it, man. And love to hear your thoughts, peeps. Like, do you where do you think this is gonna go? Should Darkwing just pass it back over, or should Seth Green be paying him a handsome bounty fee? And what is the future of NFTs and when they get stolen,
Yeah.
man?
Or
Uh
does Bored Ape step in and maybe pay
ooh,
Darkwing and say, listen, this sucks. It sucks for you. It sucks for Seth. We're going to make sure you get compensated, or maybe give him another Bored Ape,
right.
something, and then everybody can be happy, and at the cost of essentially Bored Ape, but that would put a much better light on what they're trying to share.
Yeah, I
Something like
love it.
that, maybe a PR move of some sort.
For sure. Well, you've just heard the first Mikey and Maddie YouTube short. We're going to be talking NFTs, life, the pursuit of happiness and everything around it. Thanks for stopping by. Can't wait to see your comments below. Hit us up. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. And stop by our Twitch channel Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays at 9 p.m. Love you all, folks. Talk to you soon.